Hang on. Hit that.
I think we did Duel of Fate then. I think we went. Are you recording all that?
Yeah.
Why?
Because I thought we were going to start.
Well, no, we were waiting for
Oh,
the
it's
thing
all
to go
cold opens, isn't it?
up. No,
Content.
none of that's good.
Alright.
It's not contentable. Hi everyone and welcome back to the Real Film Podcast, the podcast that chats about film and TV. And each season we chat about a different topic for a few episodes. And this series is all about Star Wars. And this is episode 4.
Yeah, 4.
If you said it with confidence, no one would have questioned it.
Yeah,
but
no,
now you know.
Episode 4. And
We
which
just insert like a Microsoft sound going
4.
4, 5.
you made that joke in a previous episode. yeah, you definitely did.
Recycling shtick now.
Go to.
I cut it out. It wasn't that good first time round.
Thanks.
And in this episode, we're chatting about the sequel trilogy. So that's Force Awakens, Last Jedi, and Rise of Skywalker. We're not really going to touch on Rise of Skywalker because in the next episode, we're going to do a full big talk all about that. So this is mainly going to be big talk.
Big talk.
The name for the podcast is Big Talk.
Yeah, big talk. And so we're mainly going to focus in Force Awakens and The Last Jedi in this episode. I'm joined by Rob, Sam, and Guff.
Where's the Bombay mix? Don't touch it.
Also, thanks for that. Just like half-assed. Oh yeah.
Where were these
I mean, Rob Savigoff.
Who are these three dickheads? Anyway, my turn.
No, but if you're this far into the series, then
That's
you
true.
know who's here.
Yeah,
You know who's here. You know who's around.
Thanks, Mum.
So you're probably binging these anyway. It's
Yeah,
like
Netflix style.
yeah. Do you not know though? When Amazon Prime does a recap, and you're like, mate,
yeah.
I've watched 6 episodes in a row. I do not
Not
need.
stopped watching.
Yes,
I like
don't
when you click
need-
skip recap. Netflix does sort of go. We know you want to skip all of them now.
Yeah.
So
We don't have to
Does
do
it?
this again.
yeah, like I'm pretty sure most TV shows I
AI's
watch
fucking
is
mad.
Yeah. So should we start by saying, how do we feel about the sequel trilogy, retrospectively?
Should we go round the table?
Yeah,
each?
you go first. Or do you want Rob to go first? Because
Go first.
go around the table, go the way around that gets it to me the last.
No, I was happy going first if you want me to.
Yeah, you go first.
Fucking hated it. Shy on it. That's my 2 sentences. Go on, Sam.
Wait, we're talking about all the sequel trilogy here.
Oh, sequel. Oh,
Yeah.
you know what? No, don't cut that bit.
Yeah,
Cut
I
that
was
bit.
going to say, you've given your Rise of Skywalker
Yeah,
review.
could've-
I was
could've-
going to say, mate, that's next episode.
Yeah, sorry. So I'm already in. Sorry, I'm already too involved.
was gonna
I've
say-
been thinking about this. I've been seething this whole
So I was
time.
looking at you, I was like, what are you doing?
You
No.
came in well too hot.
Yeah, that was like an 11. We need a 6 right now.
You know, it's a good thing. It's like
Bursting like, what up, yo, motherfuckers? Let's do.
you got to escalate. You're coming at 11. You got nowhere else to go.
Yeah, sorry,
You
yeah.
need to
Go
build it.
in dry. You're just going to hurt yourself. And the other.
You need some critical foreplay first. You know?
Yeah. I think, you know what? I think, alright, okay, yes. Using that analogy, I think the sequel trilogy is critical foreplay in the fucking we actually receive later on.
What in the foreplay's all right, and you get that excited, and then it's just
you get whiskey
disappointing
dick
and
by the
rubbish.
end of the
Yes.
You know, drunk foreplay is fine, but then whiskey dick kicks in when it actually, you know, things get going. And then, you know.
Sam.
Anyway.
You can have the actual
You've
video.
got a better metaphor.
Yeah.
No, I mean, the sequel trilogy, I love it. I think starts off really strong, got me excited for Star Wars again, and then The Last Jedi did something different that I loved, and I was excited to see where it went, and that's kind of all I could ask for. So yeah, that's my opinion on the sequel trilogy so far, up to the newest one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
How do you feel about the newest one?
We'll get there.
Find out next episode. On Dragon Ball Z.
The table is vibrating through Guff's pure rage that is emanating from him. But no, in terms of sequel trilogies, I mean, yeah, no, I can't really add much more to that because Force Awakens did. I mean, probably not as much as at least first time watching. I don't know if I was tired or what the fuck, but Force Awakens was good. I probably was the least buzzing out of everybody with it. I still enjoyed it. Don't get me wrong. I like Last Jedi, although I haven't rewatched, so I don't know if that's going to change my opinion because I've obviously rewatched Force Awakens quite a lot, so I don't know if I'm just scared to kind of rewatch The Last Jedi and it actually, like, from hearing the reviews of other people's, it's going to like change the way I see it or something. So I don't know.
I feel similar to that. Like, I'll speak about this in my segment. I came out of like Force Awakens just like absolutely on a high. Like, this is Star Wars. So happy it's back. Can't wait. And then I did enjoy The Last Jedi, but I remember I didn't see it with you guys at midnight, and then me and Guff went. I think you just said, "Yeah, I'll come again and watch it," and you were kind of caged about like how you felt about it. But I was like, "But he's coming to see it again, so at least it's going to be interesting at least." Because I was like, "He wants to see it again."
Not Justice League.
Yeah, but you want to see it again straight away. So
I'll
I was
never
like,
watch that film ever again.
I tried to.
Superman, like,
I tried
3 times. So I was like, "This is weird."
Yeah.
I don't think it's good, but
I want to analyse this.
I want to keep watching it because I love bits and I hate bits, and I kept going back to watch it. And I was like, I still don't know. But Justice League, I was like,
no,
that's
literally,
what it is, isn't it? No.
I had like 15 minutes the other day. I was just flicking through Prime, and I was like, "Oh, Justice League's on there. I wonder what's the start." And it looks it looks like a weird like video game. Like the Batman stuff looks like a video game, but not in a good way. Not in it's emulating something cool in a video game.
It looks like a Telltale game.
It
where
just
just like here and here.
It looks bad. But and then we went to watch Last Jedi, and I was kind of like, that was a bit different, wasn't it? And we were like, and we both, and I liked it, like thinking about it. But then again, we'll get onto this in a little bit. But like, the Star Wars fandom just kind of, I've never watched it again because there was so much like toxicity. Is that a word? Toxicity around it that like it just kind of.
Sorry, we also toxicity at the same time. So it's just going to sound like
there's a lot that's
Why did it have to be snakes?
But I like it. I think up to that point, but I think the fandom's ruined it more than
we can all agree
actually.
on.
I was going to say the same because I loved like Force Awakens. I remember going to see that and being really excited, and like I remember watching the trailer for that when the trailer first came out.
Oh god,
that feeling of
I'll never forget that moment.
Yeah, I can remember where I was sat watching it on my phone.
Yeah,
I loved that. I was like, this is a great like soft reboot, J.J. Abrams style. Like he's done what he did with Star Trek, basically like updated it, made it good. Well, made it like better.
Yeah,
better than the prequels, obviously, but sort of updated it a bit and kind of kept the bits that are important the same.
Feels relevant.
Yeah. And then The Last Jedi came out, which I absolutely loved, and I was like, I'm going to go into this in my segment, but I was like, this is like a perfect reboot for me for Star Wars to do something different, and interesting, and still good, and still Star Wars. And then like we're talking about the fans, just ruined that for me completely because I was like, why? And it was like some of the fans have like valid points, but some of it's obviously not valid. And when the first trailer for Rise of Skywalker came out, considering I loved the first 2 films, I was like, I don't care about this anymore.
Yeah.
I don't know why I didn't.
That was the biggest heartbreak for me. Was that I think because yet again I enjoyed Last Jedi. Sorry, I enjoyed that, and I think the longer I've kind of left it, and the more I've let my thoughts kind of. And now that there has been, I think like when you said, Matt, like when me and you went to see it, I was a bit like almost apprehensive about what I felt because I was like. As a Star Wars fan, there's some things I really didn't want to see.
I think it's because it's just not what you expected.
That's it. So it was a bit of a shock. So I think, but again, having that time to sort of, the world is like the world of fandom of still and are still talking about The Last Jedi. That's how big an impact it made on the franchise for a lot of people as well. And I think considering it's such a point of contention in Star Wars, it made me sort of go, I don't care about the Rise of Skywalker, which I think was the biggest. And the thing that really upset me that I will go into in a later episode is that I just didn't care for a lot of different things because of. But I think that's genuinely because of like background stuff, which is quite sad that. Yeah, fandoms can do that. Yeah, which is it's wild because I don't think any other fandom has made me because I'm a really passionate DC fan, but I think I can still go into a film and go that's my own opinion, and I don't think it's much enforced by other people's thoughts. Like people can think that's shit, and I'm like, no, I really like it, and I still think that applies to Star Wars, but I find it harder to cut through that.
It is, yeah.
It's weird. It's like
weird because I
yeah.
don't know if it's like the time gap of 2 years. It was 2 years, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Felt like a long time.
Well, because Solo was the only thing that kind of kept us tied in over.
Yeah,
in
Well, it's the
between,
same gap
and,
between
like,
Force Awakens and
Yeah.
Last
Yeah,
Jedi,
because
wasn't
it was Rogue One in between
Yeah.
those two, and
Actually, is it
yeah.
not a slightly longer gap? Because
No, I thought it was
oh no,
December to
there was a
December.
slightly longer gap because I think Solo came out in May.
Right.
So I don't
Yeah.
think it didn't come out May 2019, did it? Was it 2018?
2018, yeah.
I thought so.
Yeah, I
So
don't know.
it's
I don't know if part of it was like because you knew the backlash was the Last Jedi,
yeah.
and obviously then Colin Trevorrow got sacked. Whether you could kind of anticipate that Lucasfilm were gonna move away from what Rian Johnson did.
But it was still,
Yeah.
like a fair amount of time, wasn't
Yeah,
it? Because
I don't know whether I kind of saw that happening. I thought I'm not on board anymore because I know you're going to do it and you're going to pander these.
I think that's the
idiots
worry
and-
I had is that like how much are
I
you
think
going to you're either going to double down or you're going to pander.
I think that's maybe that's what the
Well, I'm
excitement.
sure we'll
is.
get that.
We'll get to
in
that.
another
Yeah,
episode,
we'll get to that. Right, shall we jump into it then?
Yeah.
Right, so I'm going to kick things off, kind of as I hinted earlier, with my segment, the Force Awakens feeling. Because we're going to talk about our feelings. No. Basically, because, I like as Sam was kind of saying, he, in kind of the intro bit there, he wasn't like as hot on it as like the rest of us were, but it was like us three and David went to go and watch it at midnight, and
God rest his soul.
yeah,
He's now turned into a washing machine.
Yeah, he's been with us. He's been with us
was
all.
time.
He's been with us all episodes.
that was his dream. When he went away, he just went to be a washing machine. Yeah, so we all went and watched it together, and I kind of touched on this in like a previous episode. That I kind of still don't understand why Star Wars means as much to me as it does, because I don't particularly like the prequels. I kind of did when I was a kid, but then it was more like the spin-offs and the toys and stuff like that. So I feel like I was so excited for Force Awakens because I love that universe, and I was like, I feel like it's finally gonna be as good as it kind of should be. I think that's why I was like dead excited, and I've never come out of a film feeling the same way I came out of Force Awakens, in being
Yeah, I
like
love
something
that.
meeting my expectations and delivering on so many things I wanted it to be. And like I know a lot of people go, well, it's a rip off of New Hope. It's quite generic.
I think
It's
that was
got
the thing that got me. I think.
yeah, and I,
Which
like
wasn't-
that is a fair criticism of that film,
Yeah.
especially like, looking back on it. But like at that time, it just hit the exact beats I wanted it to hit. It changed things in the right way. It started to explore some really interesting things with like Finn being a stormtrooper and like a deserter and stuff like
Yeah,
that,
that's
and kind of just like a lot of like intrigue, and like I just think it had like the best things of Star Wars in there. Like maybe a little generic, but even like Avengers Endgame,
Yeah.
I didn't come out of feeling the same way.
Really?
Yeah,
I
like
don't know.
Force
I
Awakens.
did
Awakens.
feel,
Yeah,
that got me.
I think I felt different. Like Endgame had probably the same kind of level of emotion, but just a different kind of
I think it's
emotion.
because that one's an ending, one's a beginning.
Yeah.
Like that's kind
Yeah.
of like I think
Yeah.
one
Yeah.
sets an expectation, one kind
Yeah.
of closes one off, and you're
Yeah.
going, that's like a
Yeah.
nice
Yeah,
little bow
yeah,
on that one.
exactly.
This one's like
It opens up a world of.
Yeah.
I was just like, I'm so excited for Star
Yeah.
Wars now. I'm like, and I think you were the same, Guff.
Yeah.
Like, I know you went Sam, as you've already touched on, but I don't know what it was about that film. It just perfectly
I think
started everything off for me.
I think what's really wonderful is because I was talking about this sort of with a friend of ours, like Tom, and I was like saying like because we were talking about Jedi Fallen Order, and not a spoiler for that, but it's sort of synopsis though.
It's
It's
just not a spoiler, but
but like that's set like 5 years after Order 66, which is quite. When you look at other spin-offs of stuff, everything happens sort of like immediately, either like sort of immediately after Return of the Jedi, or in that gap between New Hope and Revenge of the Sith,
Yeah.
but leaning towards
well,
New Hope.
it's like the whole thing of the sequel films, and it's like,
Yeah.
why does everything have to take place so closely tied to this thing?
Yeah.
Like it's nice
But-
to see a bit more, a bit different.
Well, that's it. But I think the thing that kind of got me excited about, because I think you touched upon it when you said like the original the films didn't necessarily mean much to you, but all the other stuff did.
Yeah.
I think this was like we're seeing elements of like at this point we'd had like legacies, what's called like the legends now. Like we'd had like this like legacy of stuff that stories had been told of different Star Wars, magics and the Sith doing this and like ancient Sith and all this and ancient Jedi, and I remember kind of going into that going, we're seeing a bit of that, and then we're seeing a balance of like, because it did feel like a balance of, here's some prequel-y stuff, because we can go here, because we've got like new Jedi people knocking about, and like we've got like the Jedi being more talked about while they were dead, while you've got the idea of Luke has started training the Jedi, and there was all this sort of stuff. It's like, are we going to get some of the mythos extended? But then again, they've hit all those beats of, you've gone back to the things people love aesthetically, which is, you know, like the Maz Kanata bar, which
Stuff
is
being dirty.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Dirty Star Wars. That's what we like.
And
Nothing shiny.
But it was like, I remember one thing for me that I was like, sort of back on what you said, Rob, about the trailer and everything. I remember like super excited. I went to see like a Kevin Smith talk thing, and someone asked him a question about like he'd been on the set for Rise of Skywalker, Force Awakens at Pinewood, and there was something he said that I remember going, I'm gonna love this film no matter what, I think.
Yeah.
And it was that he was just sad. He said that like he stood on the Millennium Falcon and it had a working lift, which looked like the Millennium Falcon lift.
Yeah.
Like he said, it was like.
Is that the one that broke Harrison Ford's leg?
Probably. It makes it even more special if anything. But like he said that he stood on that, and then it took him up to like the corridor that you see, and he said that he burst into tears, and he was just like, he was like a kid again. Like he was like, that was like.
I mean,
all
he's
his
never
kid's
not
dreams.
been a kid, to be fair, Kevin.
Yeah, well, exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But it was that thing of just being like. He said like there are buttons that were like, they are switches that flick and they put lights on and things like that, and the effort they've put into building the Millennium Falcon so it looks exactly like the Millennium Falcon that you saw in the original films. He said the love and attention that's gone into this film is massive, and I was like, that's when I got excited, because I was like, and my mate sort of said it as a criticism. My friend Nathan was like, I'm calling you out, mate. He was like that it's a fan film, The Force Awakens, because it's made by a fan of Star Wars. And I'm like, yeah, but I think that's the right hands to put it in. A good filmmaker who loves this franchise is a good person to reboot it. Yeah. And that's why I think he nailed it, because it was like, and I think he's a good filmmaker to kind of go, I'm not going to like start making people jump out and flip a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
we'll get there.
I think like I think you got the balance for that of nostalgia and fan service.
And also
perfect, because you look. I mean, Rogue One for me was
well.
So much fan service. Of just look, here's that ship you've seen before.
Here's those two blokes that kick off for Luke, just bumping into him.
You know what I mean? Like you see,
that's the worst part.
The whole thing is what, like a lot of people who do these like fan servicey films don't understand what makes something cool. It's like Boba Fett was cool because he was kind of in. He had cool armor and you rarely saw him. And then they do Jango Fett and it's like, well, you've ruined it now because you've ruined the mystique around that character or that ship or whatever. And Rogue One for me was just like, throw all this stuff in because people love it. And Solo was kind of a bit like that as well.
Yeah.
You like Darth Maul? There, it just put him back in because no one liked Darth Maul. He was not a character. He was just a man with a pointy head.
Yeah.
He might in the extended universe
kid,
maybe.
He was a cool because you like,
but
he's a badass man. He's gonna.
He's not a character. He's a non-character. He's a void of character.
Yeah,
He's nothing there.
And obviously extended universe, there's stuff going on.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, there's that.
Well, I think it's that thing again we were saying.
You can't lean on that.
You can't rescue stuff because there's something in the extended universe that makes them good.
I think it can't rescue a film, but I think it can rescue characters. Like, I think you can go.
I think it makes people happy.
Yeah,
apparently, doesn't it?
Well, that's the thing. Like, I like Darth Maul because of like the character. I mean, again, I liked him as a kid because he was cool as hell. Yeah. But then, like looking at some of the Legends stuff and what like the spin-offs like Clone Wars and stuff have done, I'm like, fair play, you've made him a decent character now. It doesn't mean when I watched Solo and I saw that moment, I was like, I don't care though, because I'm like, that story belongs in Clone Wars, because I'm like, that's where you've done the legwork there. Like, it makes more sense.
Seemed like a weird thing to shoehorn in. Like,
say again.
Is that a pun?
He's got spider legs.
Yeah.
No, he's got spider legs.
Well, it depends on what. Let's not get into whether it's spider legs.
True. Yeah.
But that's the thing. It's like you let it stay there. Then it's like if you did
That's what I feel like Force Awakens. They just did
let
that.
It die.
Well, it's like, let's be honest, it's like The Mandalorian. I mean, I don't think any of us have seen it, have we? But like, The Mandalorian has obviously done very, very well. And the thing about that is, if they brought him into a film, I'd be a bit mad because it's like there will be people who won't watch that series. I think it's okay because of how well it's done. He's a bit like an icon now. People know what he looks like. He's been everywhere, sort of thing. But I think if you were to make a whole like side character, like if it was the film and he was like another lead character in that film, people would go, but who is he really? Because like some people would watch that and go, I don't know who he is and I don't know his backstory, I don't know anything about him. It's like, let those things stay where you build them. Don't just kind of fan service is just done wrong in that respect. Yeah, I agree with that. I sort of derailed your point. I apologise.
Yeah. No, I was just saying. Force Awakens I think does it right.
Yeah,
and I think a lot of the other Star Wars films since Force Awakens have done it wrong.
Yeah,
and pandered rather than given little kind of glimpse and little feelings rather than. It's like a kid. You give them like a chocolate bar. And they kind of appreciate chocolate more if you only have one chocolate bar a week. But if you just throw chocolate at them, it's just too much chocolate, and it's just you get diabetes and you die. That's what
you will get pregnant.
That's what a lot of Star Wars has been.
Yeah,
and I feel like that's what a lot of people expect from Star Wars. And maybe people will like different things than I do about Star Wars.
Leading from that though, like into like the Last Jedi a little bit, like in terms of, I suppose like nostalgia done right. It's like the things like what were they called, porgs? That thing. So like but I think people went into that going, oh, they're like, and I sort of went into it going, they're a bit fan. They're just they're a puppet. They're an Ewok of like that world. Just makes it world build a bit. And like, which I don't have a problem with, like in terms of that, but it's like you've done that deliberately because people like puppets in Star Wars,
and they'll probably buy some toys of it.
Yeah, exactly. It's you can. It's
Disney, I guess.
Yeah,
so it's like
I don't mind that,
but when I actually appreciated more when I heard the story that it was sort of just to CGI out the actual birds that were on the island.
Oh yeah,
because they just couldn't get rid of them. Because what were they pelicans? I think it's puffins. Sorry, yeah. It was like. There's just a load of puffins on the island they couldn't get rid of, and they were just like
shooting them, just getting.
Apparently, the puffins supposed to be very nice to eat.
It's like we wouldn't napalm the island, but
Mark
we were on the
Howard
grass.
running around with a bat, just running
spear.
Yeah, better than that weird milk drinking scene.
I
think
the way he looks at her, just be like, "I'm drinking titty milk." Yeah,
blue titty milk.
What other kind of milk is there?
We have mentioned blue milk in the past, haven't we?
That's my secret, Captain.
What do you think he was drinking when he was in Dagobah with Yoda?
Yeah, that's fair.
What, Yoda titty milk?
Yoda titty milk.
And we don't know. We don't know he can't do that.
That is very true. We've never seen Yoda's nipples.
You can milk anything with nipples.
Milk you.
Robert De Niro.
Is that the Bible?
Yeah, Genesis.
Paul 24:10.
Yeah.
Anything with a nipple can be milked. Sorry,
I think it's Peter Fockers.
No, it is Peter Fockers.
Same thing.
He milks a cat. Oh, he says he does. But,
Luna?
Luna?
Yeah, the point. I think as well, obviously from the trailers we knew like Kylo Ren was going to be pretty badass, but he's such a good villain in that film. Yeah. Like on par with like Darth Vader in terms of better. Like.
I'd argue he's better.
Yeah.
In terms of his character.
Wait, actually, let's go back. And so when Guff said, Anakin's the best character in Star Wars.
No, yeah, I think he's got the best story.
Yeah.
Okay. In terms of villain, presence on like the screen and stuff like that. He's just that he's got more depth to it almost.
Darth Vader's pretty two-dimensional until
they did
the end of
until they did the prequel shit to even try and talk about who he was beforehand.
Yeah.
Like obviously the Kylo Ren stuff comes with a wealth of those relationships,
and he's got
happening.
that like mystery to him and stuff like that, but just like gravitas, when he's like on the screen, you're just like, there's not many villains that I've seen over recent like decade that have that level of. Even like Thanos, like doesn't do that for what Kylo Ren did. I don't know if that's because he's CGI and stuff like that, but Kylo Ren just feels genuinely like terrifying. You like, and that's part of that too is like his design, but also like Adam Driver's performance, like the lightsaber,
I think it was like I think the
like,
thing with like Star Wars, it's like there's that scene in New Hope where I think it's. I mean, you obviously see them storm the ship at the beginning of New Hope, and he's like obviously got this ominous presence, and you hear the breathing and everything. That's the first time you really introduced to him. But you almost get his like brutality is when like he's in the room of his own men, and that person starts talking about this ancient religion that's not actually been that. Dead for that long?
It's not that long ago.
About 18 years actually, right?
Exactly,
and we're probably alive to see some of them.
George
He
Lucas
was quite
doesn't
old as
understand
well.
your Star Wars again.
But like this guy's just kind of doubting him, and then he just and it's quite a horrible sound. The force choke sound is like this crunching. It's a horrible sound, and like to have that, and then he's just like that ominous presence and that voice. James Earl Jones, and there's something really ominous about that. And I think Kylo Ren had that also, and I think for me that the moment where I was like, holy shit, is in the movie when he catches the laser.
Yeah,
because that's like such a nerdy little thing, because it's just like I remember going
how?
I remember going like,
what is this witchcraft?
And it was a bit like, no one's done that in Star Wars.
Yeah.
films.
I think that's the nice thing.
That's-
Like, no one's done it, but you don't go, that's dumb.
No.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's the right
It
level
makes sense.
of like
Yeah.
of like that. Whereas force healing
Yeah.
that everyone can suddenly do.
We'll get there. We'll
We'll
get there.
get there.
No, but you know what I mean. That's what it did. It did new things, but that
It's-
made sense within the universe.
Well, it was like his sort of like mind probe thing. It's like we've
Yeah.
seen sort of people like sense people's feelings
Yeah,
and
yeah,
going
exactly.
like, I see doubt in
Yeah.
you, I see this, and it's like him doing that in an interrogative way.
Yeah,
Is
it's-
like again, and like it's the soundscape for it, like those kind of effects they do when
Yeah.
and like that really helps. And I think again, like Adam Driver's performance, and I think the first time you see it is with Poe Dameron, and it's Oscar Isaac's performance where he's like this cocksure sort of guy, and then he kind of breaks under the pressure of him.
Yeah.
It makes you go, fuck, Kylo Ren is a really good villain.
Especially because early on you see there's that scene where he's like, what happens here? I talk first, you talk first?
Yeah.
And he's like, I can't really
yeah.
hear you. And he's like
Yeah.
really cocky at him. And he's like, no.
No,
Yeah.
These two are not on the same level.
Yeah, and that's like, I think that's like one of those things. It's where, because it's like sort of paralleling something I didn't like in The Last Jedi, which is Poe Dameron and Hux at the beginning, where Hux is like a bit of a caricature and a bit of a daft
Can't
villain
even
anyway.
really remember this.
Yeah,
stuff.
but
Well, that's
It
it.
does a your mama joke, basically.
Yeah,
Oh,
basically.
right. To
Donald Gleason, yeah,
Donald
Donald
Gleason.
Gleason,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He does do a young on the
He
joke.
just makes a joke out of
He's
him.
wasted in this trilogy.
Yeah. But
I mean,
that's it. It's
especially
like,
in the last one.
Not gonna lie, I was like, just go,
Yeah.
like, just.
But that's what I
no,
mean.
but
somewhere
for me, I
else,
was like,
like-
you can save him. Like, I was like, he's a character that
Yeah.
should have been
I
like
know.
more.
It
Because
just
he's
wasn't though. It just.
I think
Which was a shame because he's.
he's a great
I
actor.
liked
Yeah.
him, yeah.
I think that's the thing though. It's like in that film when you see him with quite a lot of influence. Like
In the
it's-
first one.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
you have Snoke is like your emperor, but then sort of like something again that's kind of been done a little bit in New Hope was that you
I know
had
what you mean, yeah.
you had like Darth
That's-
Vader
yeah.
and then you had oh god, what was Peter Cushing's character
Tarkin.
called? Tarkin, yeah.
yeah.
You had them two as like there's the bit where he says like Vader release him, and you kind of in that moment you go these two are
who's in
equals.
charge?
a little bit. Yeah, who's
Yeah,
in
yeah.
charge? And I think there's always been that dynamic in like Star Wars a little bit where you've got the sort of like Sith, but then you've also got like the military leader,
Yeah.
which I think is a really interesting dynamic. And they had that in the first film again with Kylo Ren and Hux. They almost both looked like Snoke's kids. There's like a bit where
Yeah.
they're almost both talking to their father,
Yeah.
and they're both like being petulant children because they're bickering,
Yeah.
but they're like both like doing his bidding.
Yeah.
And I think there could be more done with that. And I think, that was like an interesting dynamic. Yeah.
I think that's it. That's what it set up so much. Like, I enjoyed the film, but then I was like, there's just so much I'd want to see where this now
Knights of Ren.
like goes. Knights
Yeah,
of Ren,
it's fine. We'll
like-
come to it.
like
Sort of.
you know, raise powers and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Like I think one of the most disappointing things is where like Finn ended up going in this trilogy. I think that's one of my
Yeah.
biggest disappointments.
I think the
based
problem
on
with
this
that is
first
that
because I absolutely loved the story of
The start
him
of
being a deserter.
Yeah,
and,
it's
like,
great.
I absolutely love
Yeah.
that.
Great
Like,
intro
what a
to him.
great motivation to give this character for this trilogy that then goes nowhere. But I love that his whole storyline. Loved Poe and like, do you know what I mean?
Do you think part of Finn's though was the advertising that they kind of set him up as he was the Jedi?
No,
Which-
100%.
which
Like,
is
the advertising,
great,
yeah.
which is
which
really
is
clever.
pretty clever. But then,
Yeah.
do you think they were just like, oh, we don't really know what to do with him now because he,
But then
like
work
almost,
that out,
almost,
like,
yeah, well, yeah,
figure
obviously
something
should have. But
interesting
I wonder
out,
if that's part of the problem
Well,
where they were like, we've done this like red herring,
Yeah.
and now he's not a main character. Whereas like before the
Yeah.
film, he's like he's going to be a main character, he's a main
Well, I
character,
think a lot of
and then
people
actually
saw
we never
Poe
was
Dameron.
supposed to be.
I think a lot of people saw Poe Dameron as obviously he's like the sort of Han Solo.
Solo,
of the
yeah.
series. I didn't see him though, like in terms of his relevance to the series. I thought like Finn should have been the Han Solo, where he's like the second lead character.
Yeah.
Where it's like Luke is obviously the main character, but you're almost sort of more invested in, or equally invested in Han Solo's journey.
But then
And I
Kylo
think-
Ren isn't. You've got Kylo Ren's like you could argue is the lead
Yeah.
of the film. Whereas
Exactly,
how
yeah.
much screen time's Darth Vader get in the original
Well,
trilogy?
that is very true,
Nothing
yeah.
compared to Kylo
Yeah.
Ren.
That's what I mean. Like those three. Like I mean, Poe Dameron, I love the character, and I think he's a great character. But for me, the film is about Finn, Rey, and
BB-8.
yeah, and Kylo Ren.
Barbie Free.
Bubble free.
The other good thing. Anyway,
True.
but that's it. Like I think those are the three main characters in that film for me.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
and I think again, it's a shame what they did with Finn because he could have been.
Yeah.
But I think that
We're not
is-
talking about that.
No, yeah.
No,
Focusing
no,
on
we're being
Force
happy.
Awakens.
But I think,
yeah.
I think kind of. I remember. I think that's what that film did. Like stuff really clever, which was that like it again. It kind of took it going, here's your lead, but he actually isn't. But you still actually care about him. Like, the lead is still good. Like, Rey is a really good character.
He had quite a complete arc in that first film as well.
True.
Yeah.
Of like, he was a deserter, then he gave up, then he came back around, saved the day. And that was kind of, it kind of felt that was his arc done. And then it's just like, well, what do we do now? We've done his arc in the film
And then he was
already.
put in some pod.
Yeah. I'll tell you what was like a really well-paced bit, though. Like, his story, again, sort of came to an end in Last Jedi. Which was that his thing was quite against. It was like fighting his past a little bit.
So what with like the Captain?
So like with the Captain Phasma. But then they had that kind of fight in the Last Jedi, and I wonder if that was just to kind of like make sure it was done.
Yeah.
Like, do you know what I mean? It was like, let's not leave it as
like,
a loose end.
Yeah.
But I think, and it was good, but it's like there should have been more consequence from it. I think, and it should have been more of a build up.
Yeah.
I would like to see more of those.
Like if she'd gone like
kind of-
hunting him down, if she was like part of a squad that were like, we want you to find the resistance and go after them.
Like if they were going around hunting up all the deserters, one of them would have been
that would have been really good.
I feel that's kind of one thing I didn't like so much, like the Phasma him relationship. Like 'cause it didn't feel like it was built on anything.
It
'cause
felt
we never saw it beforehand, really.
Felt totally.
I wish there was
No,
like,
but I think it could have been. I think it was well introduced in that bit where it's like she's like, I'm gonna go brainwash you again.
Yeah,
and then it was like, and that was
She
almost
seems
the
to have-
moment where he was like, I need to get away now.
I feel that's enough, but then she seems to have like a really, really personal vendetta against him.
That
Like,
was, I
there's
think,
something
that.
down-
Yeah, but I think
that
it
was
was almost
bad.
like the first film should have been like them going. I think he should have like hurt her. Like I think because he obviously sees her as a figurehead.
Yeah.
I think it makes sense for him wanting to attack her.
And then it made more
But
sense.
then if she
following
would
that.
then develop a personal vendetta against him. But like I
worked
think
I wonder how
just
much of
always
her,
deserves.
I wonder how much of her stuff was like cut
Yeah, probably
because
quite
she
a lot.
was so heavy in the promo.
Massively.
When the
She was
Christie
Boba
was,
Fett, though,
she was
wasn't she?
everywhere,
Yeah.
Gwen
Yeah,
and Cushy, and
essentially.
like she has like 2 lines of dialogue.
Yeah, it's terrible.
I reckon.
And she
And
looked,
it's like-
she looked awesome. Like that's
she
like,
looked cool.
like that's one of those things where it's like I know it's just an aesthetic thing, but it's like
That almost makes it better, but then don't promote Gwendolyn Christie as the lead character in the film because she's not. She has like 3 lines, two,
Yeah,
3
it's-
lines.
it's
of
really-
dialogue.
it's a real
even
shame,
like,
yeah.
she's not even like that big, really. I know Game of Thrones.
She's quite tall.
No, but
Yeah.
the thing at the time, Game of Thrones was big, and she
Yeah.
was obviously coming into her own in that arc. So I felt like it was almost she's big. Maybe we should use her again. This isn't a height joke, but no. I mean, yeah, maybe they macked. Who knows? Finn and Phasma.
Is that like-
That's
is that your head canon?
Yeah,
That's the canon going from
Bumps
like
uglies.
Force Awakens to Last Jedi.
I want
Didn't
more of
call back.
those, like the traitor guy.
Traitor!
Get more of him in
Also,
it.
what's his story?
I remember googling this after because I was like, right, that was a cool
is
bit.
there a comic?
Apparently, there is a comic.
Is there?
I think
Oh my
there's a
God.
book. There we go.
Yeah.
Which I've read. He's like,
Yeah.
he was like, because it's the
Was
reason
that
why
best
Finn's so good at lightsaber fighting
Yeah,
as well.
'cause he
Is
trained
that
with- yeah.
he was like trained with on those.
Or is it?
Batcom
Or is it
things.
because of another thing that was introduced in Rise of Skywalker that has no connection to
It
any
could
of
have
the
No,
been.
you know what?
Nonsense.
I don't like that book though because I read that. I just saw that scene as like I don't think that scene was written to be like he's a
No,
mate.
yeah, it was more just
It's
like,
just like it's just like it's some guy who's a loyal, who's like
Yeah.
loves his fucking job. He loves
absolute
killing
jobs
people. He's
he
like,
sleeps with that laser thing in his
He's
bed.
like he never takes it off. He's like dress for the job you want. he's like going to sleep in the helmet, and then he's just been like this piece of shit has
Yeah,
betrayed
how
us. I'm gonna have him personally. Gonna have
Which,
him.
you know what, thinking about it now, I reckon that's why the whole shit after where it was like, well, actually, I don't even know if the book came out after. We must
No,
have
the
done.
book was
but-
before.
Was it
Which
before?
book
Yeah,
is it?
It's just a little book that has like 3 little stories of like Rey,
okay.
Poe, and
Oh,
Finn.
I'm just thinking
beforehand.
because I'm just thinking now when I said like I'd want it more in the other things, I felt like they wouldn't do it because then people would just probably say.
But this
how
is the
it's
problem with like
pandering to
Star
that
Wars
stuff.
fandoms a little bit,
Yeah, it is.
which is that
That's-
people
yeah.
people want connections when there doesn't have to be
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
It's like people just want things to all be
To be
connected.
fair,
It's like
his traitor was very loaded.
Yeah.
It wasn't like
It felt like it was.
It wasn't just like. I'm
yeah,
gonna
'cause he
make you a
loves
traitor.
his job, man.
Yeah, he loves
He
his
takes a
job
lot.
so much.
It's like when someone shits on like when you're like, oh, I ain't coming to work, mate. It's like this company is brilliant. It's like, all right, mate, all right. We do a lot of charity. All right, yeah, we get it, yeah. But I think
You get a good pension.
I saw a post that was like a meme, which was like, when you advertise Captain Phasma to be the new Boba Fett, but more people love the traitor guy. It's like,
which,
yeah, bang on.
if anything, you probably got more of a insight into like feelings he had in
Yeah,
that film
that one line.
than Phasma had, which was a
I do
shame.
want to say though, like a pacing that I want to say this is a parallel to something I'm going to say later on for Rise of Skywalker. So, but like, there's a story beat which is like, you think Poe, you don't see it, but you know you're led to believe that Poe may or may not have been killed in the crash on Jakku.
Yeah.
And you don't see
Yeah.
him for ages, and the journey becomes about like he's a bit like this guy saved me and I've lost him, and I'm now on my own. And then he meets Rey, and then it's like, oh, fantastic. And then he goes on this adventure, and that he's got a partner again. and things like this, and it's like, and then later on that scene where I think as an audience member he's not dead, but like for a character it's like you don't know, and it's still ambiguous what happened to him. We see him flying in, it's like, and then that's like the nice moment where Poe Dameron shines, because it's like he's a starfighter pilot, and that bit where, and I think it's one of my favourite shots in Star Wars, is the sort of like, it almost looks like a one shot of like panning to a character, but it all sort of like in the periphery follows him fighting TIE fighters and like shooting them down.
It's
great.
Say that, the score in the Force Awakens
again, John, you good man.
Big John.
Yeah, like the Resistance
Big John
theme tune is incredible, and also like Rey's theme as well are both just like, neither like Last Jedi or Rise of Skywalker, I didn't feel any piece of music that made me feel particularly much.
At all.
I just want to feel things, but like Force Awakens. Like, I still hear that music, and like when the Resistance one comes in,
Can we watch that later?
I do want to watch it.
Can we watch it?
Do you know? And you just like slowly build. You like, oh yeah,
shit's
going
about
down, like, and it's exciting.
But it's like there's certain shots where it's like it really. And I remember seeing it in the trailer as well. It's just that shot of them like flying over the water.
I was just about to say.
Such a fantastic shot.
Yeah.
And I think even stuff like, I kind of want to go back to like one of my favourite shots, which is I think the bit where one of the bits that genuinely gives me chills every time I watch it, because I think it reminds me of when I saw it in the cinema, is the bit where they're just running away, Rey and Finn, they're running away from the market.
Inside jacket.
And they're about to get in the ship, and it blows up, and they're just like, we'll have to go in the piece of junk, and it just pans to the Falcon.
That's a good
I remember getting
that.
I just got chills thinking about it then. But it's like that moment of going, right, this is where it kicks. This is where, like,
did you? Like, you didn't see that was gonna.
You don't see the shot of it.
I didn't see it coming at all. I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Well, it was like
out of nowhere.
I think when she called it garbage, I was like, oh, it's gonna be the Falcon.
I don't think I even.
know?
No, I didn't click.
I think I kind
until
of clocked, because like there's like the line of calling it a piece of garbage is thrown around.
Because
little-
Luke calls it that, and all
he's
that.
like-
doesn't
The
he?
little motif kicks in as well.
But I think that's it. It's like, and I think that's where the story really kicks in for me, because like we've not seen any legacy stuff until that point.
Yeah.
I think it's all just new, and then that's the point where you go, we're back in Star Wars now. Like this is where the legacy of what's happened over the 30 years is. But I want to give, like, because we've not really talked much about it yet, and we've not talked much about Last Jedi. But I think Rey is like such a great lead, and I think the thing that really angered me.
But she's a woman.
But she's a Mary
Sue. That
Sue.
annoys me so much is that she's a Mary Sue. Luke was a Mary Sue.
Probably more so.
More so. The guy, and you know what? Right? I'm gonna put it out there. The guy had like a week of training. And he's like, he comes to Jabba's palace being like,
Dressed
I
in
dressed in black. He's in his emo phase. He's like, I wouldn't.
It's pizza time.
You underestimate my power. It's like, mate, you're 3 weeks into being a Jedi. That's like the epitome of being like.
You wear it. It's confidence.
Yeah. Do you know what?
That's the job you want.
Yeah. But it is like, but he's like, no, but it's like there's he's like fully like, I can take on this massive intergalactic gangster with connections all over the place. With this new green weapon I've just acquired. Like, I've just built it. I'm like, I don't know what the official canon timeline is.
I was just about to say, is it 3 years or?
I don't know, but that's what I mean. It feels like fair enough. It is. Yeah, fair enough.
I don't remember.
But like in terms of what we first like, there's literally in the moment of.
There'll be a comic about him making that lightsaber, I'm sure.
There probably will be. Yeah. But I think the thing with like Rey is the first time we see her sort of use the Force, and people were kind of going, "That's not, that's not how the Force works."
What is it, the mind trick thing?
I think that's like one of the main
Daniel Craig.
ones, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think that's the main ones where she does the mind trick.
Yeah.
But I think the thing is that, did we not have like inklings
Before.
earlier that she had the Force, or is that literally the first time that we kind of get it?
No, I don't think there ever was. I think it's that just bit where she's able to resist, like.
Yeah. I guess there's.
But you know what it is?
that.
I think that's it. I think.
And she like reads his mind back.
Yeah, I think the fact
guess,
she's able
like,
to resist him and stuff like that.
But I think the thing is, I don't think it feels, because I think as well she dresses like a Jedi. Like her aesthetic is that she's in the robes and things, and she's got the staff, and she can clearly look after herself, and she's like well trained in like a martial arts sort of thing. Is you do kind of go, she's going to be the Jedi of this story. Like early on, you go, she's going to be the one wielding the lightsaber in this. Like it's likely going to be her compared to Finn now that we've met her. So I think when that moment happens, it's not like, whoa, she's a Jedi all of a sudden. It feels natural the way they introduce
that moment does give me goosebumps. Not the bit where she's the Force, when like the lightsaber flies past her and she catches it.
That's fantastic.
That's good.
But it's like, apparently, this is one of my
like
favourite
Cap
things.
and the hammer.
Yeah.
But that's what I mean. It's almost like as big a moment but
in such a new story.
in such a new
That's
story.
true. To introduce it that,
and you
yeah.
kind of like to make me care that much. Obviously, it is about extended universe and the rest of the films as well, because you know about Jedi, you know about the Force and all that sort of stuff. So you have like a background knowledge, but to make us care about that character that quickly, that when she does that, you like feel like that strongly about it is.
It's so well done.
Really impressive.
But I think that's the thing, like, in going back to, like, Luke and that kind of thing, is that, like, the very first time he really uses the Force is Han Solo's judging him in the Falcon, and obviously Obi-Wan's trying to teach him how to, deflect the things from, like, the probe.
Yeah.
And he's like, just trust your instincts and things like that. And it's as simple as going, trust your instincts, you'll get it, because that's how the Force works. If you're strong with the Force will guide you. Well, stop overthinking. Things will come naturally.
That's not how the Force works. That's what Han Solo says.
That's
not how the Force works.
But no, but like with that, and then literally the second Obi-Wan says that,
oh shit,
Luke does it. Yeah. It's not like he does it a bit, and then it's he might have the Force.
Does it spot on.
He can get better at it. He's literally like. Beep, 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 and like
Jedi Master.
Like, I'm gonna go.
Where's my black clothes? Where's my black clothes?
Just drops the lightsaber.
You wouldn't understand me, Uncle Owen. Like, I think you're not a real dad. But I think that's the thing. You kind of go back to like that Mary Sue argument, and it pisses me off so much because it's literally because she's a woman.
Yeah.
Someone says sexists don't have a rational argument for not liking women. But
yeah, crazy, innit?
Unless they're in the bedroom or the kitchen, eh?
Yeah, stupid. But I think there's so many things about her story that is just it's charming. You know, she's like a fan of Star Wars. She's the fan of Star Wars that we sort of are as well.
The Jedi.
She's like a fangirl.
She talks about Luke Skywalker and stuff.
Yeah, and she's like she lives in the AT-AT and she has like the helmet of the Star Trooper and stuff. And it's like it's all these little bits that we first meet her with and we're going, oh, she's like the fan of us.
That's it. I mean, like we've touched on the Last Jedi, and I did like the Last Jedi, but I don't feel it had those kind of moments.
No, it didn't. Yeah,
I don't know if it's just because it was like the second one, but the first one had these moments where I was just like, this is like quite charming, and I really like it, and it understands what it is and what it wants to be and where it needs to go. And
I think that's the problem that I personally have with Last Jedi, is that like as much as I like it and what it did, and I appreciate the story, and again. I sort of was like, okay, here's where we are now. I did miss those things. Yeah, those are the things that I was like... I mean, don't get me wrong, I didn't want The Force Awakens too.
Yeah, no,
I'm glad that the story went the way it did. Yeah. I just think...
It's perhaps missing a couple of those little moments.
The throne room fight scene?
Yeah.
I mean, fantastic.
Yeah.
Bit where Luke walks out? That's good. They're
great bits.
The score on that bit, the score where he walks out.
The shot where the big walkers point at him on
I got more feelings from that than I did in Force Awakens. And like John was the score on that as well. I was like, fuck, we're going to see Luke
lay down.
But we can talk about this in the next
I was going to say, is this a good time to move over to...
Yeah, talk to I mean, that was quite a big bit, wasn't it?
Next segment. Basically, The Force Awakens just, set things up
fucks.
Yeah.
This guy fucks.
Yeah, forget what I was going to say.
That's it.
So my segment, let's talk about Last Jedi. I know we just talked about The Force Awakens being a really good reboot of Star Wars, but I actually think The Last Jedi is a better reboot of Star Wars. Because it kind of... And there's that whole thing in the trailer where it's like, let the past die. Yeah. It's like a massive theme throughout the whole film is forget the past, move on, do new things.
This ain't your daddy's Star Wars.
Yes.
New Star Wars.
Dad's going to be dead soon, move on.
He's already dead.
He died in the last one, shit.
We killed our dad. Yeah, basically what you're trying to say is the film advertises kill your father because it's like, hey, we killed ours, you need to kill yours now.
We made a deal, remember?
So don't maybe kill my dad.
We want to kill
We
my
didn't talk
dad.
about that.
It's like 2 hours, 40 minutes.
Yes. Well, he kills his dad.
Yeah.
Because we didn't actually, but that's fine. Go on.
It's good though.
It is good.
It's a good bit.
It's a good bit of the film, isn't it? But yeah, it kind of like, it moves away from like the binary kind of good versus evil, makes kind of the grey Jedi, which are a thing in the expanding universe, kind of a thing, or sort of tries to introduce it.
Yeah. Starts to.
I don't want to introduce it. I'd have been more on board if we didn't have that milk.
Blue milk?
Introduces
No way.
different types
Yeah,
of
but
milk.
they've done blue milk before.
No, it's not the fact he's drinking the milk. It's like, what if you see him like milking it and it's dribbling down his face
What do you
and
think he does
do
with
a
it?
kind of like
Because he doesn't have personal relationships with people. He's
not
been alone for
pasteurised,
so
is he?
long.
It makes him look like an absolute nutter.
No, but
He's
I,
a nutter.
but
No,
I,
it's not in a good way, not in like a funny Yoda way who then turns out to be a Jedi Master. Just like, he looks like he's lost it.
Good.
Well, he has.
Yeah,
I'm
but
glad.
he's not
think
Yoda.
I don't think he does it in a good way.
He's not Yoda.
I do.
I genuinely love that it kind of does these things.
I love
like
what it does with him.
with Luke,
It's not
and it's
nice.
like it makes him so much more interesting. And it kind of people pretend that Luke was this like really good guy for
Oh,
the
he
whole
was so
whole
vapid.
Star Wars. I'm like, he's so conflicted throughout most of the original trilogy,
Yeah.
and now he's conflicted again, and they're like, nah, no way,
No way.
And it's like he's been conflicted throughout the whole thing, and I think like that kind of move away from that black and white morality makes it such a more interesting film. And it kind of like the last shot for me is like tells me everything what I think they were planning to do with Star Wars was when that kid uses the Force to pick up that broom, and it's kind of like and the whole Rey be nobody sort of thing. It's like Star Wars is about everybody. It's not about the Sky. I mean, it is about the Skywalkers, but it's bigger than that. And it kind of opened up the universe to this massive whole new thing where we thought, oh, what are they going to do now? Is this kid going to be someone, or they could do anything.
Sorry, I don't mean to derail that point, but I mean, fucking Rise of Skywalker made us bring back. Anyway, sorry, just the last scene, Rise of Skywalker, that just got me heated. Then I was like, when you said like,
I will contain my anger.
when you said like Rey,
get triggered.
yeah, when you said like Rey was nobody and stuff like that, I was like, well, they fucking undid all that, didn't they?
Yeah, I got triggered a bit. With
Continue, please. Sorry,
I'll see it a little.
I was just looking down at the table, like
It's like they did this
Sam just
thing.
went from a 4 to an 11.
I was like, God damn
They
it.
did this brilliant thing.
Coming in hot.
Well, they got rid of the whole like master
I
apprentice
loved.
Sith thing as well. They're like,
Yeah.
no one cares. Like Palpatine in the original trilogy, all right, he's cool. No one cares about him. He's
It was
not an
Darth
important
Vader people
character.
cared more about
Darth Vader's the
anyway.
important character.
Yeah.
Snoke. Why do
'Cause he's
people
the one
care
that has
about
the
who
emotion.
Snoke is?
Some people
no one cared about who Palpatine
People cared
was.
so much about who Snoke
No
is.
one
That
cared who
honestly, I was
Palpatine
like,
was.
honestly, fuck it. Who gives a shit?
It's so
Like,
much more. Get him out. Get rid of him. Make it
Yeah.
about Kylo Ren. More interesting.
Yeah.
And you get rid of like all these dynamics that were like JJ carried on in the Force Awakens, and rightly so. He carried them on because that's what people are familiar with Star Wars, and it's what they like. But then Rian Johnson's like, well, why do we have to do the same thing over and over and over again?
I think you kind of have to set expectations to them, like move past them. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
I understand
exactly,
Force
yeah.
Awakens did it because it's been so long since we had a Star Wars film. If you just averted them straight away, it would have been weird.
Exactly,
If you
yeah.
set it up, then you can avert it.
Sorry, going back to the whole people getting aggy about who Snoke is. I just realised you don't know anything about the Emperor in the old films.
Well, exactly.
No,
you
you
only
don't.
get shit
And it doesn't-
explained in the prequels.
It does not matter. It's this like weird internet.
Do you even
kids,
realise he's
kids-
Sith?
Like,
Like,
this is what I mean.
like, when do you ever get told he's actually a Sith?
But it doesn't matter who everybody is. It
Yeah.
does
Yeah,
not matter.
yeah.
It's the people who matter are the ones who get explained. We know who Kylo Ren is. We know. Well, we don't know who
And
Rey
get-
is. Well, we do actually towards the back end.
I mean, I
Of-
wish
of
I
Last
did. I
Jedi.
wish I didn't know.
Yeah, no, of Last Jedi. We're just talking about Last Jedi, ignoring
Ignore
Rise of
Last Jedi.
Skywalker.
Yeah, yeah.
At the end of Last Jedi, he said, "You're no one. Parents are no one." And then obviously, yeah, like you said, it
And
leads
it does
into
not matter.
that.
And it doesn't matter.
yeah, but
That's
that's what
importantly, it does not matter who your parents
But
are. or
also,
who
it
you
makes
are.
a lot more sense because it's that, and again, it grounds those characters because it's that bit where Kylo Ren is like, I've come to terms with the thing you can't come to terms with. Because let's be honest, like Rey's earliest memory that we know of is her being 10 years old, being abandoned by her parents. She's going to remember stuff immediately before that, but he's sort of like, you can't admit that your parents were nobodies. You have created and almost repressed this thing of going, they are important people who care about you, who will come back to
And
save
yet
you.
they've left me here for some noble reason, not
Yeah.
because they were alcoholics or what,
exactly.
gambling
Yeah,
problem or
yeah.
whatever.
And
it was.
doing that is such a great way, and it's tragic. It becomes a tragic backstory
Yeah.
for a character that was like they were hopeful and things like that. And again, that's sort of what you want from that for me is sort of the Empire-y elements of that film, because Empire is about them losing. They lose Han.
Yeah.
He lose a hand.
Very
and
good.
gets it back 10 seconds later. But it's a terrible storytelling.
Community looks exactly like a normal hand as well.
Funny that.
And it's the same.
But yeah, then they couldn't do that for Anakin. He had to have fucking C-3PO hand.
Yeah, a little scat and a glove.
It was older. Sorry, yeah. So
older.
yeah, that makes sense. Makes sense. Sorry.
Technology
No,
moved on.
Take that back. I take that back.
But I think, like, the whole point why Empire is so good is it leads to a sequel, and it leads to a conclusion we know we're going to get, because it's they're down on the luck, they've lost, but they've not lost hope, and they will fight back. And that's what you kind of want at the end of that film, but
it's how you need to end
the
second film in a trilogy.
Yeah.
That's kind of how.
And that's what they do with Rey.
Yeah.
They go, and again, I love the expectation that was, because again, like, some people don't like, and I'm gonna sort of go back to the point about Rey in a second, but I think the point about like
how many
Luke,
tangents are you going off on here?
I mean, we've got a whole podcast named after the tangent, mate.
Yeah,
Plug it. But I think the thing with the lightsaber being thrown at the beginning of the film, where like Luke just goes, "Nah, I don't want this anymore." I love that. I laughed.
I like that a lot. Yeah.
I laughed out loud because I was like, because I went, and people really hate that bit, but I
don't think I care for it.
I can see why people go. They're like, oh, it would be maybe a bit daft for him to do that because it is something he hasn't seen in years.
I think
he should probably have a bigger reaction.
I like the sentiment. I like the sentiment to it.
I like the sentiment.
I think
He could have dropped
I think
it.
it's a bit of a daft way.
He could have made it.
He could have just been like,
he could have just let go of it.
he could have just
It's a
maybe
bit
give it
slapstick.
I quite like it too. I'm just like going like fuck off.
Yeah.
It's just like
Well, he's given it all up at that point, hasn't he? In his mind,
Yeah.
he's not a Jedi anymore. He's like, oh,
he doesn't want to see it, does he? He's just
yeah. I do think, but again, the sentiment is behind it. Well, sorry, no, not the sentiment. I think the sentiment works, but I think I quite like the slapstickness of it because it's sort of like it is a bit of a
Star Wars has always been silly.
Well, yeah, but I mean,
well.
like, I mean to the audience. I think it's a joke to the audience being. You've waited years to know what he'll say.
Yeah.
You've
Fuck
wanted.
off.
You've waited and you've speculated for how long. How is he going to react when he finally has that lightsaber back in his hand and he's just I don't care for it.
Because of course he doesn't want it. Why would he be there if he wanted it? Do you know what I mean?
I'm not saying I don't like the idea that he doesn't want it. I think the
action of
action's
like,
a bit silly.
No,
Like,
that's a fair criticism.
I
I think
think
that's fine. I think that's each to their own.
A better actor than Mark Hamill might have pulled
Yeah,
it off there.
yeah,
that's fair.
Watching it, I'm like, he's good in it, but
It's Mark
He's-
Hamill
he's
still.
not a good actor.
He's not
He's not.
yeah, it is
yeah.
still Mark Hamill, isn't it?
Yeah.
But I think,
And he's quite a silly man.
Yeah, he's a silly bloke. But I think silly man. But I think going back to like, that whole point of like Rey is that is that thing of being like people have speculated who you are for 2 years, and the fact that I sort of saw it as that's the only way you can win because I think if you would have made her a Kenobi, which was my personal want at the time, I was like if you would have made her a Kenobi, people would have gone, I wanted it to be a Palpatine, I wanted it to be a Skywalker, I wanted it to be this, I wanted it to be that. By going, she's none of those things. She's no one important. She's not someone you've met before. It's like, fuck.
The thing is,
good. That makes the universe
that's-
so much bigger.
That's the most interesting thing for her arc as well.
Yeah.
Like that moment where Kylo Ren's like, I know who you are. You're nobody. Like your parents were like scum and all that, but you're someone to me. It's like him kind of going, look the background I'm from.
Yeah.
I'm from this lineage of master like Jedis and like all these legendary people.
And I'm a prick.
Yeah. No, but it almost is.
Shit
Look
happens.
how messed up I am.
Yeah.
I killed my own dad last week.
Yeah,
Like,
that's really
look
good.
at me. You're no one and you're pure and you're good. And I don't care that you're nobody because I care about you. And it's such like whether he's manipulating or which I don't.
I don't think he's manipulating.
I don't think he is.
But I love that. I love that thing because I think it's almost like an abusive relationship. It's that thing of going, he's like a damaged person who is doing that thing of. I don't think it's deliberate manipulation, but being like, look how you are no one. No one cares about you. No one gives a shit about you. But I don't.
Yeah.
Like I care about you. I don't see you that way.
So she.
So it's like you know like
It's
sort
me and
of-
you against the world, baby.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's that kind of almost like abusive mentality,
Yeah.
which I think is again great for his character, not because he's manipulative and but he's reactionary. That's how he genuinely feels, and that's how he sees the world.
Yeah.
But I think going back to your point, I think that is
it's the most interesting thing for her arc, and as you say, it's that kind of thing of going. The people don't relate to lineage of being, you know, all like you've got to be born in a certain thing to get there. People don't relate to that because most of us aren't that. Most of us aren't born into a lineage that defines our life.
But then
Whereas-
people are obsessed with the royal family. It's a weird,
Yeah.
like, it's a
I
weird,
suppose it
it's
is
a
a
weird,
similar
it's a
thing,
weird
actually,
thing.
yeah.
We're
But
obsessed with people who we think deserve our money more than we do, and we kind of.
I suppose it's a weird
Our-
British thing,
it's-
isn't it?
it's
It's not like a.
But a lot of Americans love them, and it's like
yeah.
they're born into
Well,
this
I think
thing where
that's
we
British
give them
history,
money
yeah.
and then they get to live with our money in a really nice lifestyle, and we will love them for it.
Yeah.
And
It's
I think
really
it's a kind of similar thing where people love like lineages. I don't know
Yeah,
why.
yeah.
But I think the
I
thing
don't
is,
know why,
as well,
it's weird.
It makes like from a storytelling perspective, you made Rey again. This you made her us. You made her a fan of Star Wars. You made her a thing. And people were like, they ruined it. Like, you know, Rian Johnson did. It's like he didn't. He enhanced so many of those things that J.J. Abrams did. He got rid of some. Yeah. But he really, when it came to the characters, he didn't just really double down on what they were.
I think he didn't. Well, apart from Finn, he didn't just disregard them in terms of Rise of Skywalker disregarded plot points from the Last Jedi. It just evolved past them. So it's natural that Rey is curious who her parents were. They left her on this planet with this trader guy. She had to fend for herself. She's obviously going to be curious about where she comes from. And obviously being a kid on her own, just living this thing, she will have fantasized and gone, maybe I'm really important.
Yeah. Maybe I'm Skywalker.
Maybe, you know, my parents had this mission they had to go and do, and that's why they couldn't look after me. Like, you wouldn't you would think that. And you know, you tell yourself that enough, you start to believe it. So it makes sense that she believes that in The Force Awakens. It's not bad storytelling to then go, that's not the truth. That's a little story that a little girl made up for herself.
I think that's great.
It's a great story. And it's, you know what, it's not, but she can still be significant. And she is still significant.
I remember seeing a thing that J.J. Abrams, and I might be paraphrasing, it might be slightly incorrect, but I'm fairly confident, and this was before Last Jedi, I'm fairly confident not long after Force Awakens, there was like a thing with J.J. Abrams where he was like, I actually didn't consider how much it looked like we set up a lineage for her.
Mm-hmm. I remember reading
but I think if you look at it through that lens of going, there is no one.
I watched it again recently and I was like, they do seem to be teasing this quite a lot.
But is it accidental?
Yeah, I don't know.
I think it's like if you wrote the film and like all your editors know how the story works, then it's like, is there any parents? No, it's just some like scavenger, and she's she loves these people. If you look at it through that lens and you tell that story because you want to set up the thing of she wants it to be someone important, she wants it to do that. Yeah. Maybe you don't realise it comes across as like a mystery box sort of situation.
Yeah, but it's that whole thing. As you say, if you know the story, you're seeing what you want to see of that kind of thing. Because I always notice about like the Harry Potter films. There's so much in the films that if you actually watch it as a film, doesn't make sense or isn't connected. But because everyone seems to know the books, you connect it yourself, and you're just like, well, that's never explained. That's never explained. That stuff doesn't go anywhere because you know the books.
We need to do Harry Potter series because they're bad.
It doesn't really like because everyone connects it.
I like them.
No, you're wrong. So you like connect them. You connect
do like
yourself,
the books as well.
But that's the thing that like maybe they did, and I've like. Made little short films for, and someone's picked up on something that I didn't intend and go, that means that, doesn't it? And I go, no, that's just you reading into something.
Like,
No, but I'm being like, that's cool that you read into it now, but that's not an intention we had.
That's the beauty of interpretation.
And that's an 8-minute short film. Yeah. Imagine over 90 minutes, all the little things that just add up that people can read into and just become a bigger thing. And I think with like Force Awakens, that was the beauty of the Star Wars fandom, of everyone going, who could she be? Where could she go? Where could
it's
this
even
go?
weird that we have the obsession of who is she, not just why can't she just be who she is in her own right?
No,
why
does
she have to be?
The film did
make
you start going, who is she? Like,
it's
the big
weird,
question.
But even
one of the biggest questions is, who is she?
But even so, if the original intention was like, because I know that he sort of said the original intention is that she is I'm not going to spoil it because we've not actually said it out loud, and I'll wait for the big spoiler to be in the actual next episode. But I think in terms of we found out her lineage, and like J.J. Abrams has said, oh, that was always the plan. It's like, it wasn't, because I'm pretty confident I have read that thing where you said that, and it's like so
maybe you Mandela effect in it.
I remember the thing Daisy Ridley said was, she was saying, I think it was after The Force Awakens, where she said, I think it's pretty obvious who her parents are.
Yeah, I remember her saying something about
she
that.
She said that, didn't
she? She was like, no, you'll be surprised when you find out, sort of thing.
Oh, that is very good point.
But then I'm like, does that mean it's no one, or
that's the thing, because I wouldn't have pulled the threads together for
unless that was one of those things.
That's what Guff was trying to avoid.
I can beep it if you want.
Yeah. That's it. I wouldn't have pulled those threads together because after that, you wouldn't really.
Well, I think the way it ended up.
No,
it wasn't.
Like, if there'll be one person. It's that or Jar Jar Binks.
Yeah.
I'd go.
No,
it's
see,
about 50-50.
My alternative theory: Kit Fisto. He's a dad.
Fisto.
She's green, neck down, she's got tentacles,
got gills. Yeah. No, I think.
Miss Kit Fisto. No, wasted character.
Yeah.
He was shite anyway.
But no, I think the thing with when you maybe I'll try and find that quote so I can like validate it. But I think, or maybe just myself.
Quote himself.
But no, I think
sources say.
Real Film Podcast
spit in my shite handwriting. Guffo. 2016. No, but I think if you kind of look, maybe it was a case of if J.J. Abrams did say that, or maybe it was a case of going.
You imagined it.
Yeah, no, but like it could easily just be we wrote it with not an intention because we didn't want it to define her character. But then maybe after when the editing looked like, oh, it actually does maybe illuminate that she is someone. Maybe that's the way we'll go. And then it was like, if anyone asks you in an interview, your parents are maybe a bit coy and maybe lead up to a thing. And then and then obviously when Rian Johnson got on board, it was like, yeah, you probably shouldn't have said all those things in those interviews because we're going to scrap all that now.
It's weird. It's like they almost have had a plan of where the full
It's
trilogy was
weird,
going.
Funny that.
Who'd have thought that would have worked?
It's weird that the people at Disney who also employ Kevin Feige and Marvel didn't think they should do the same idea for the Star Wars films.
Crazy, isn't it?
Oh, weird.
No, but I think that's the thing. Like, I think with Rey, especially in The Last Jedi, I think her relationship with Kylo Ren is the highlight of that film. Like, I think those two are, and I think that it's a side story, which
especially
is
Adam Driver's nipples.
Yeah, it gave us Ben Swallow meme, so I'm all for that.
That was good.
Luke could milk the crap out of that if he could.
What colour is his milk?
That's really what happened in that Jedi that Jedi hut. He didn't try and kill him. He was trying to milk him just in the hut.
It pans down when he turns around. He's got he's got one of those pumps.
He's got his milk around his mouth.
Jesus Christ. No, I think.
To be fair, I'd destroy a Jedi Temple if I woke up and Mark Hamill was milking
I was going to say, to be fair, I'd destroy Adam Driver's nipples.
Mark Hamill was suckling at my teeth.
Yeah, I would not be happy.
No, but I think you know what to protect you at bra, but shame no one has a bra in space, right?
Yeah. George Lucas, you pervert.
No, but I think kind of going on to I think I touched upon it in like the last episode of like the spin-offs, but there is a Kylo Ren comic that is currently being published, and like only the first issue, it takes place immediately after Ben Solo brings that sort of hut down on Luke, and it literally moments after it, the temple's still kind of not burning yet. It's literally he's got himself out of the rubble, and I think if that comic existed right after Last Jedi, it would make so much more sense because it genuinely feels like. And I don't know where the story's going. The second issue is out, and I don't know how many issues they're planning. But it might be, and again, it shouldn't justify it, but it might be a nice tether between those two films because this feels like, but almost like you kind of tell yourself these are the actions that would happen.
Retrospective, trying to fill in the gaps.
Yeah, maybe. But I think for that first issue, it kind of makes you go, yeah, this all makes sense. Like, it feels like logical that this would happen. Mm-hmm. But I think kind of going on to the sort of relationship between those two, I want to talk about the sort of what will then later be known as the dyad between the two of them, like the dyad in the Force, but like their connection that they have, like the bits where he gets the splash of water and he sees it on his hand, that does become a massive part of the next film. Mm-hmm. I hate that because I thought it was really nice that I didn't see it as actual water. He felt water. It was almost like sensory. It's like
not actual water, just like
it's
the feeling of being wet.
He sort of was so connected to her that he could almost feel her surroundings and had the same instinct to being splashed in water, even though he wasn't. So he's in like an Imperial building, but that is a great side story in that film because it's like it becomes the main plot. And I think it's
better than the other side story.
Yeah.
But we're not even going to go there.
Yeah, I was going to say we all.
No one likes that.
Yeah. No, we're supposed to be positive about Last Jedi.
We are.
No, we are. But I think we can admit that there's not.
We have to at least
every
touch
film
on
has a little bit you don't
exactly.
Like. Yeah. Well, it's like I find in like Empire that the bits with Han Solo and Leia when they're on the run, it's a bit boring. Like when they're just in the big worm cave, not much happens.
Yeah.
They're just, it's just,
yeah,
this ground's soggy.
Even,
it's rumbling now.
There are bats!
Even some of the Thor stuff in Infinity War, I'm a bit like, I don't really care for this.
Yeah, it's like... Well, like
he spent a whole film looking for an axe. I'm like,
yeah.
It's way too long.
Well, I think that's the thing. It's like you sometimes just need to say why characters get to one, to A to B, and it's better than just having them not there at all.
Yeah.
And I think the weird thing that Jedi did, which is you could have sort of had them all in that... Because that like people criticise the scene of them just being chased and it's just a long chase. I think when you've got the thing of like Rey training with Luke, being unaware that is what's going on, and then having them in this sort of like time sensitive situation can be quite tense. And I think the plot line between sort of Poe Dameron and
purple hair lady.
What's she end up getting called? Because they named the maneuver after her.
Holdo,
yeah.
not Waldo.
So, Waldo, yeah. Where is she? Oh, don't ask. No, but like that relationship between them two is like really good, and I really like Laura Dern's character in that, where it's like she's a bit annoying at times, but it's that thing of.
But she's right.
Yeah, she's right.
Yeah, she is.
Yeah.
And I do think like again those decision making things are bollocks because it's like if you'd have just told him the plan though, he probably wouldn't have kicked off. Like I mean, maybe it's not his rank. But
Well, to
be
be
a bit
fair,
like cleverer.
he is quite highly ranked.
Yeah.
That's it.
Within
Though.
the resistance, like if he was just a fighter pilot, you'd go.
But that feels like the only reason why they don't tell him is because of like.
But then,
rank,
do we feel that way because he's a main character and she's not, and we like?
No, I
think
genuinely think that's that
But
thing.
he's
Where
been
it's like,
very
almost feels-
trusted to do operations and run operations and be like.
As far
the
as
thing
like
is-
plot,
Yeah.
I think no. I think
as
it
far
was
as
like,
plot holes go, I'm not really that fussed about.
no. Yeah, maybe not. It's not the worst.
If it's
but I
not,
just think-
if it's classified information, he's not.
No, but I think
whatever,
I think at the same time though, it's like
There just seems quite a lot of people that
it
do
does.
know, though.
It doesn't feel like the Star Wars universe has never felt like a thing where pulling rank is a thing.
Yeah,
In the
true.
Resistance, like it doesn't seem like anyone's ever like
Feels
pulled
like
rank.
everyone
on
knows
them.
because there's only about 5 of them.
Yeah, that's it. So it never feels like that's been a thing, but because it almost feels like
that's true.
desperation. But I think in terms of that sort of relationship, I think that cabin fever element of we're stuck in this shit, nothing else to do, and we're gonna die if we don't get, when we run out of fuel, we're gonna die. And I think that's a nice different thing they did. But I think then when they had like Finn and Rose fuck off to that other planet, it did
What
kind
were
of.
they doing?
They
They had to get the master
finding-
code breaker.
yeah,
who was,
code breaker, not
Justin.
Trudeau.
Yeah, I was gonna say that it's not Justin Theroux, and he was he's like the Lando Calrissian, isn't he? He's like the gambler,
yeah,
and then
yeah.
he
Find
actually,
Benicio del
and then
Toro
he
and-
gets fucked off elsewhere, which I
Bastard
got
man.
really annoyed. I kind
Yeah.
of see why they did that, but I'm like, you're doing a lot of fake outs. You're doing a lot. This film
Yeah,
is
it's almost
becoming
a
a
bit
lot
too
of.
That
challenge
was
your
one too many, wasn't it? Why
expectations.
couldn't
Yeah, that was one too
He'd
many.
just have been.
Yeah,
Why couldn't Del Toro just have been the guy they were looking for?
Which is what I thought it would be. I thought it'd be
Yeah, I
like.
thought-
I kind of forgot that. I thought that he. Yeah, no, I forgot,
was
I
the
forgot about the
person,
first
yeah.
guy. I kind of,
Yeah,
in my
if-
head, he's just the person. He
Yeah,
went
it was like that's what I mean. It's like if they'd have just gone like, I've met a Maz Kanata before, so it could be me, and it's like, oh, it was him the whole time.
Yeah,
That would have been better rather than because you
quite
led
liked
to
him
believe
as
it's
well.
like, oh, it's that suave bastard.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
it's like I like and I really like Benicio del Toro's character in that, which is this asshole who again later on doesn't actually have a moral compass. He's not. He's
yeah.
not
He just
Lando
wants the money,
Calrissian.
yeah.
No, yeah,
He's not someone who will turn around
But
and go.
then he says himself, don't he, about like selling arms? You sell them to the Empire, sell them to the Resistance.
That's a really good point.
Which is
Actually, the
right.
one bit of the casino bit that I do like is when they're like, everyone's kind of bad and everyone's blowing each other up.
Well,
And they
that's-
don't touch enough. There's like one
I
sentence
think
on
if
it.
there was more of a reason for them to go to the casino planet, like, do you know if it was like a front?
Why does it
or
have to
if
be a
was like-
casino planet?
No,
It's
maybe
like,
that's
just
the-
make it a normal planet. Why does it have to be a big casino?
To be fair though, I do like the whole
They've
thing.
done
I do
ice
like the,
planets, they've done fire
No,
planets, they gotta do
casino
something, I
planets.
guess.
I do like the
I've had too
parallel
much
though.
sand.
Yeah.
I hate sand.
I do like the
It's coursing, it gets everywhere.
Also, it might not be a casino planet, it just has a casino on it. We have
Yeah,
casinos
yeah. It's
on
not a whole
Earth.
planet of
That's the thing,
casinos.
I mean, like, when
It's
people
actually
say...
shaped like a
When
blackjack.
people say casino planet, I'm like, the whole thing's not a casino,
Yeah.
there's forests. They go on that...
It's actually called
little horses.
casino.
But then
No.
they do have that weird chase.
Casino
with,
in the La Vega system. No, I think the thing for me with that is that
Shut.
you loser. I think with that whole storyline though, I do like the parallel of being like it's full of the worst scum in the world in like New Hope.
yeah.
Is this dingy little bar? It's like a load of like smugglers and like people who are in essence obviously the worst probably trying to get by because they're in a poor part of the galaxy.
It's just rich people being
and that's
dickheads.
like that's the opposite side. It's like these are
The
full
rich
of the
people
worst.
being bastards.
And then
like
people are
Rupert
like, oh,
Murdoch.
it's also political. It's like that is sort of the state of the world we're in though.
You can say poor people are scum. You can't say rich people are scum. No, that's no.
How dare
that
you,
is,
how dare
That
you.
is
Yeah.
out of bounds.
But I really like that parallel. Just it's filled with the worst people
Yeah,
ever,
no, I'm
and you
with you
sort
on
of
that.
expect that again.
Yeah.
And then it goes to these like, and it's that weird guy with like the mustache tentacle. It's like I'm down for that. I'm like I'm here for that. Like
Yeah, it's good there.
I think if that would have
Thinking about it, is that casino a bit good?
it starts good. I don't think it.
Some of the
I don't think
ideas
it
are
stays
good.
good. Some of the ideas. are good.
Yeah.
I think if it had like played on the thing of them, they are like the arms traders thing is almost like that's why good and evil is a bit grey, and I think that being the theme of Last Jedi is quite good because again it touches on the grey Jedi thing, which I think should have been the outcome of the film.
Yeah.
But I think I think that kind of idea of they're selling arms. If the reason they went to that planet was something like, I don't know, they could have, if they wrote something a bit more like, there's a weapon that they're going to buy,
that's what I was about
and
to
the
say.
Resistance need to get there first, but we don't need to. But they're also chasing us. We can't let them know
Yeah,
about it.
that'd
So
be
like,
better, wouldn't
you have a secret mission to go do that
that'd be good.
and stop them.
Yeah.
Would have been better
And then-
motivation.
And then you kind of go on to that thing of going, maybe there is some Imperial officers there or stormtroopers, and they're like,
Yeah.
hey, what's this? And he's
They
like,
catch them
dude,
and
I'm just
that.
making a living.
Yeah.
yeah.
Like, what you're selling to them is like, yeah, sell to them, sell to you, sell to anyone that wants it.
Yeah, exactly.
And then it becomes like a kind of thing of going, do we buy it off this guy?
Yeah.
Like, do we?
Yeah,
like, how
yeah.
badly do we?
Yeah,
need
like,
this
do
thing?
we
Like,
now become part of
morally?
the problem?
Do we take?
Yeah.
Do we? We've got this money. Do we buy this or something like that? And it becomes a bit
that'd
more
be good,
interesting that
And I
way.
think that, and again, I think that's a moment for like maybe balancing all those like plates is a bit too much. But I think if you there's a clever way around it, and I think again it kind of almost doesn't waste. It doesn't waste Rose for one, which I think is again you can't blame the character, you can't blame the actor, you can blame the writing behind her.
Yeah.
I don't think it's very good, and again the writing for Finn isn't very good in that film.
No,
so I
it's
think
wasted,
it gives him, and again it's that thing of being like we're trusting you with a secret mission, and if I think you can almost still have that cowardice thing that they kind of put in there at the beginning of being like, but more of being like I'm a stormtrooper who's like now part of a bigger thing. I don't really know how to lead. I know how to follow orders. And then, but he's being like, you're in charge of this secret mission here. We need to do that. And that makes him grow as a character as well and become like, because again, like sort of in like New Hope and everything, it's like Leia's a princess who works for the Resistance. Luke is a pilot who was a farmer, and this is a smuggler. All three of them get turned generals in the next film. Generals. It's like
It's quite a jump up, isn't
It's
it?
a
There
jump.
aren't many people.
It's like, but that's what I mean. It's like they're just throwing fucking titles around at this point. But
So that Medal Wars Chewie's one now.
it's like we're actually also massively racist because you're all generals apart from you, Wookiee.
Apart from the dog thing over there.
A big dog don't get gold. Gets a hug though, doesn't he? He's nice.
Do you want to bring this segment back on track?
Bring
Rob?
it back on track.
Sorry, yeah.
The guff just
sorry.
derailed it completely.
We'll let it out. It's fine.
I love it how this segment is
very
like,
mad.
I love how this segment is how Last Jedi perfectly rebooted the series and Guff just spent 45 minutes going,
Yeah, maybe cut
but
my
this
bit
whole
out."
bit was crap.
It's crap.
And this is how I would redo that bit.
Yeah, sorry.
did say something
I
about-
did sort of go
You
off.
said something about Grey Jedi,
Yeah, you said
Yeah.
that bit.
There we
which
go. Do you want to
Slight
fast forward
tangent.
through my bit?
yeah, I got that. And so I think that kind of you move away from. I think I said this in my prequel episode where I just hate the Jedi, and then and like they're crap, and they're just these little monk people who are fucking rubbish, and like they're just shit. They are just shit,
Shit set of rules.
and they don't. And I know it's kind of part of the prequels, but they don't really shit on the Jedi enough because they should be really heavily criticized for creating the Sith, basically, because
Yeah.
their crap rules.
Which is what he
create a
does.
Sith.
Which is what Luke does.
Yeah. So Luke kind of realizes that, and he sort of burns the books and stuff, or Yoda does the tree lightning thing, whatever. I don't know. Doesn't really matter, does it? And they're like, yeah, that's not what the Jedi are about.
No.
And that's a really interesting way to move forward for the rest of the Star Wars universe. And obviously, they kind of ignore
I
that.
was going to say, do you feel like they did it in that?
No, they didn't do it. Did
I
they?
think-
They didn't
I
at all,
think
did
even
they?
by the end of that film, they don't, which is a bit upsetting.
Well, I don't know, because they introduced
Yeah,
the whole thing
so
with the
sort
kid
of-
with the...
No,
Kid,
'cause it's
yeah, I
stuff.
suppose it says,
No, but
yeah,
I think
I'm not
from
the last.
that element it's fine. But I think like the whole thing with Luke, where he sort of goes like,
I'm not.
well, no, he's like, I'm not the last Jedi,
Yeah.
and it's sort of like I
thought you
kind
were.
of liked the point that the Jedi were going to end.
Yeah.
I think when it
And
comes,
what, and they become
maybe
like
the-
a different...
well,
maybe
maybe if it's like
entity.
maybe if it was like more craned in like the idea that it was. It's not. We're not the same Jedi.
Yeah,
It's
I think
like, yeah.
that's the thing, isn't it? It's like we're still Jedi. We're just not
We're
what
not
we
those
used to.
guys.
We're not.
We're gonna have a
It's-
cooler
it's-
name.
We're not
But it's
the
weird.
way-
It's weird that he kicks off
monks.
about the texts being burned, though.
Yeah.
That's what I think's weird about that.
He gets
shift
over
there.
it, doesn't he?
No, well, no, but like Yoda's the one that's like it's not all about books. It's
Yeah.
not about learning.
Yeah,
Like the like if we're gonna let
Fucking
the Jedi
nerd.
be a new
Yeah,
thing,
nerd.
if we're gonna let the
Give me
Jedi be
lunch
like a
money.
new thing,
Yeah.
it's fine to let. And again, it's fine to let the past die.
Yeah,
You know,
that's
that's the
what I
thing,
think. For me, yeah, just we can leave it on that. I suppose
Yeah.
it sort of moved it on, the story on, in so many different interesting, or more interesting ways than
Yeah. Then just another...
what it actually ended up being.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rob, you've got Rob, I hear you have a quiz for us.
Yeah, this is the IMDb quiz, where I will go back in reverse chronological order from an actor's...
Reverse chronological or chronological?
So from oldest to furthest away in terms of time. That's a weird way to say that.
But you know what?
A long time ago.
It feels like the explanation you need for Star Wars. Because people say, I've watched it in chronological order. Which chronological order?
Like
in our time
canon,
of theirs.
canon chronological order or like real chronological order.
So I'm starting
when Guff said that Anakin goes and helps Mace Windu kill himself.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm starting with their first credit and working my way towards more recent stuff, right?
Yeah.
So wait, who are we trying to... Is this actors?
You have to guess the actor, yeah.
Right, cool.
I'm not telling you it.
No, yeah, just give it...
First credit. These are all obviously relate to the sequel trilogy.
Yeah.
First credit, 1996, Ill Town, and this person played Pool Boy.
Adam Driver.
No.
Damn it.
What was the year?
1996.
I was thinking he might have like a really early credit or something.
Yeah.
Like
Oscar Isaac?
Yeah.
You son of a bitch.
Son of a bitch.
Well done.
Were you trying to work out age, or do you feel like you know
I was
that?
thinking like Pool Boys are American.
Johnson Moore.
Yeah, go on.
All About the Benjamins. Francesco.
I still wouldn't have got
Oh, did I guess on the first?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck. I forgot how this game works.
I want to see which of these I would have actually got.
I forget how this game
Lenny the Wonder Dog.
Oh, I was waiting.
No,
He played a fart man.
No, I definitely would have got
Law and Order.
that. No.
Everyone's been a Law and Order.
Yeah,
The
that's the
Just
thing.
narrow it down.
The Nativity Story. He played Joseph.
No, I haven't seen this,
I'm
so-
skipping through a few here. Body of Lies.
No, I haven't seen that.
Ballybo.
No.
Robin Hood. Prince John. Is the Russell Crowe one.
Oh yeah, no,
Does
I would,
he?
yeah,
Yeah.
he does.
No,
Yeah, I
what?
probably would have got that actually.
Sucker Punch.
I wouldn't
He's
have
in
got
Sucker Punch.
Yeah.
Oh, does he play the Doctor?
Yeah,
Blue Jones.
I don't
Don't know.
know.
That's what it says there.
Probably one of the fantasy things, isn't it?
The dad of Baby.
God knows.
Don't
I
know.
can't remember. Babyface or whatever she's called.
We also Drive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Standard.
Yeah.
Who's called Standard, and then Ryan Gosling's character makes a joke about
Oh, yeah.
him being like substandard or something. Or it
It's
says
called
like
standard.
apparently.
What weird.
I've not seen Driving Years.
Born Legacy. Didn't realise that.
Is that the one with
Jason,
Hawkeye?
yeah, Jeremy Renner, there we go. So Jason Statham,
I was gonna say
man. Jason.
Yeah, Ex Machina. Everyone knows everything now.
Fucking hell, I only watched Ex Machina recently. That fucked me up.
Good film, innit?
Watching that at the end, I was just like, I don't know how to feel right now.
Yeah, I was like,
That hurt me.
there was the
bad.
thing with that as well that I had to probably cut around this. But at the end of that film, I was going like, I knew she would either go bad or be
Yeah.
good, and like I'm still shocked.
I-
Like, do you know what I mean?
yeah.
There was a
was.
50-50
Yeah.
chance how this would have
Yeah.
ended, and like I think it was the way they did it. I was like, I'm still like sad for him.
Yeah.
I still feel
Yeah.
like even though it's like the whole film, I've been thinking which way
Well,
would
she didn't really go bad. Like,
No, but I suppose. But
yeah.
do you know what I mean? It's like she just lets him die, doesn't he?
Essentially,
Like,
yeah.
do you know what I mean? It's,
Well,
it's the
yeah.
bad outcome.
Yeah.
It's the it's the bad ending.
They don't run away together.
Yeah, yeah.
But anyway, yeah.
Next person.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say the character's name because it might give it away.
You're just going to say film.
I'm going to say film.
Cool.
Rojo, short 2006. You can have one guess around. If you don't want to guess, I'll just move on.
Whatever.
There's no
whatever,
point just randomly.
No,
Yeah, it's
yeah,
alright.
because
whatever
we're
Carrie
just
Fisher's daughter's called.
No. East River,
Billy Lord,
which is a
she's called.
short from 2008.
Is it Adam Driver?
Nope.
I'm waiting for you to say Attack the Block, so I
I
can say
don't
John. So I can say John
I don't
Boyega,
want to skip
but
this one.
Is that a tap
I'm going to skip it. No.
Damn it.
TV series 2009 to 2012 called Sugar.
Oh, was it Gwendolyn Chris? Is that her name? Gwendolyn Chris?
It's not a no.
That's not her name.
Non-stop 2014.
Isn't that the?
I saw one on the train, isn't it? Like it's a train. Like
It's not Liam Neeson one.
Yeah, it is the Liam Neeson one. Oh, is that the plane
is
one?
that with the train?
I thought there was a plane one as well. There's one in a train, one in a plane. Fucking.
There's one on the automobile.
It's irrelevant. Who's in it?
Liam
Who-
Neeson.
who is
Liam
on-
Neeson.
Who is on the plane
Liam
slash
Neeson.
train? It's not Liam Neeson.
Damn it!
It's not Simon Pegg.
I forgot. Yeah.
It's
Daniel Craig, and you just missed out. Casino
James
Royale.
Bond.
Yeah.
You're not going to get that, so there's no point. The Jungle Book 2016.
Oh, trying to narrow it down. John Favreau. I mean, I'm putting him John Stewart.
Oh fuck! Wait. Who else? It's not just Harrison Ford.
I missed out Star Wars: The Force Awakens, by the way.
Okay, yeah, that's fair. That's
Obviously,
fair. Yeah.
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, is it? What's the name who plays Maz Kanata?
Don't know, but he's raising
look,
some eyebrows.
Is it, not, is it Lupita Nyong'o?
It is.
Oh,
She voiced Maz Kanata?
Yeah.
Here we go. Next one. Rebel Heart TV miniseries 2001, 1 episode. Six Shooter, a short from 2004.
You sitting on drive.
Yeah.
Boy,
I will do, yeah.
At one point, it will stick.
Boy Eats Girl 2005.
Eats girl.
Yeah.
Jabba the Hutt.
The Last Furlong TV series 2005, 3 episodes. Studs 2006.
Are you sure it's not Adam Driver?
It's not Adam Driver
Is it not
or
John
John
Boyega?
Boyega. A Dog Year 2009.
Jeez, this person's had an interesting career. What?
3-year gap there as well.
It's all over the place, isn't it?
Corduroy, which is a short from 2009.
Oh,
Donald Gleeson?
Sounds thrilling.
It is Donald Gleeson.
Oh!
How did you... He's guessing characters.
Yeah.
No, I'm just like...
Nah, I don't know. I feel like you've not seen
No,
Corduroy.
short
Yeah, well,
films, I'm like... I'm trying to think about how old they are based on the career.
They're all quite English.
Well, I didn't know if
crappy.
any of... I was going to
It's-
ask, like,
I mean,
ask
these-
if the US...
He's just been Harry
They
Potter.
sound
doesn't
quite
he?
English from what
Wait,
I
is
can
Donald
see.
Gleeson not a character? Oh no, he's
Yeah,
not one of the
he
Weasleys.
Yeah,
He's one
no,
of
he
the
Yeah,
is,
2000,
he is,
that was the next credit. Well, I was going to do 2 more credits, and then it was going to be Harry
Yeah.
Potter. And then True Grit.
Ah, yeah.
Oh, yeah, he is.
Done. Finish it. Take me home, country road.
This is the end of the episode where we say things like thanks for listening and check us out on all the social medias. No, thanks for listening, everyone. This might be 2 episodes, this might be 1, I don't know. We've spoken for a while. So either next episode's either going to be well, it depends when I put this outro. At the end
Just
of the-
record a
You have to
different
re-record.
outro.
Oh, no!
Yeah.
But yeah, next episode coming up is going to be Rise of Skywalker. You can probably already tell our opinions on that, so you might want to not
I
listen.
loved it so
or you might
much.
wanna listen. I don't know.
What
Wait,
a great movie for all the fans.
Our opinions on Rise of Skywalker. We're doing that now.
Yeah.
Settle in, folks.
Yeah, I don't know if you want to listen to maybe skip that one. I don't know. But anyway,
Just wait
yeah.
for the Star Tours episode.
Yeah.
Rise of a Career.
Yeah. Everything's below. Go and watch it and like it and share it and all that sort of stuff. And we'll see you next time.
And hands off the Bombay mix.
Bye.
Bye.